Hello, it's Chad with MBTV, and today's topic is NFJ and NTJ relationships. The biggest thing that we got to understand about relationships is ultimately that relationships are not based on your type. Type is a starting point, it's not a finish point. Therefore, if you start out as a certain type, NTJ, NFJ, whatever, you'll realize that you can stretch to be able to adapt and be friends with all types and have great relationships with any type ultimately. And that's the point of typology. It's not to say you're put into this box and therefore you can't do this and this and this and this. It's to tell you, here's where you're starting. Okay? Now, learn to grow up, mature, and be effective in managing all relationships ultimately. And this is the reason why us typology people love it, because it shows us where our weaknesses are. That being said, the NFJ is primarily their introverted intuition and extroverted feeling. The NTJ is introverted intuition and extroverted thinking. That being said, ultimately, their judgment on the world is quite different. They're both extroverting different processes. They might have a mutual understanding, but it lies unspoken. And so there's some kind of like, I get you, but they don't know that they get each other. Like, okay, so let me put this in another perspective. I could be talking with an NFJ, and I feel like I get this person, but I don't think this person gets me. And I think it's the same with the other party too. The NFJ that I will be speaking with thinks they get me, but they don't think that I get them. And I think that's very common in this particular thing, because the intuition is what's processing internally. And yet when I speak, they're seeing the logical side and they're like, wow, this doesn't apply to me, or this is not what I'm really looking for, or this is not really what, I don't feel like this person is connecting to me. And I feel misunderstood by this person. And you got to remember that the way that the NTJ approaches the world is through categorization and logical systems. How does this person contribute logically? How can I put this person in a position to succeed? How can I put this person in my life in the future to where they'll fit in and actually, contribute or build or construct or orchestrate or manage or, create or, goals and platforms, and how, what is this person's goals and objectives? That's what NTJs are looking for. What is this person planning on accomplishing? And a common NTJ question is, what are your goals? What do you plan on accomplishing? What is your ultimate vision? What do you want to do in the future? And an NFJ may not know this, because this is not where they spend a lot of their judgment. They spend more of their judgment in ethical situations and ethical points of view. So when an NFJ is talking to an NTJ, they're wanting to know the ethics of the NTJ. Like, who is this person at the core? Who is this person really behind all the external quote-unquote facade that the NFJ may be perceiving, the success, the money, whatever the NTJ is doing at the time, the job, the business, whatever. The NFJ is looking for the essence of who that person is. With that introverted intuition, both types want to get to the bottom of each other. They want to understand each other. The problem with it is that they're not able to really communicate that to each other effectively, naturally. And when I say naturally, I mean that's how they are naturally. And again, you can learn, stretch and grow and learn how to manage and have relationships with all type. But naturally, they're going to feel misunderstood, but they both kind of subconsciously might actually get each other. Like, the NTJ may know that the NFJ is trying to get to their ethical core, but the NTJ may be comfortable explaining their ethical core, and vice versa. The NFJ may feel uncomfortable speaking in logic to the NTJ, or speaking of goals, or may feel, they have a external admiration for the NTJ's drive for success, where the NTJ may have an admiration for the NFJ's, strong moral character, or so they say, or so they see, or their focus on human ethics or human guidelines. And this can be a very, very beneficial relationship for both types. It does have its communication challenges. They both need to stretch a little bit to be able to actually get along effectively, so they can feel understood and know that each other's understood. Another thing is NFJs are often, not all the time, known to need affection through the world. That's how they need attention. They want to feel paid attention to. And this is not a natural thing for NTJs. And that's pretty tough. It's pretty tough for NTJs to be affectionate. Again, because their attention is focused on logical outcomes. It's like they have to reshift their attention to something they have no experience with. And NTJs always want to feel competent in what they're doing. NTJs naturally do not like feeling incompetent. It's a big problem with NTJs and NTPs too. They don't like feeling incompetent. They want to know what they're doing at all times. So getting somebody, an NTJ, in a position to where they have to show affection can be very uncomfortable for them. Whereas an NFJ may feel that the world of logic can be also very uncomfortable for them as well. And, disregarding, say, ethical dilemma portion number 1 and making a logical choice can be a challenge for them as well. So now, developed type obviously will be able to stretch to both without having too much difficulty. They'll still have their natural preference, but they'll be able to stretch. That aside, I do think this pair ultimately is a great combination. I think it has its perks. It's just getting over this little hurdle of this misunderstanding or not being able to communicate effectively due to the way that you're judging and organizing the world, whether it's through ethics or whether it's through logic. And this is a big challenge for this particular relationship pair. More specifically, INFJs and INTJs are going to have a great deal of trouble with each other at first because they don't really get to see the internal side very much, and yet that's their primary preference. And NTJs feel like, and INFJs and INTJs feel like who they really are is this perspective. And so they don't get to share that as easily, and so that may put up a hurdle. The NFJ may want to see the inner core of the INTJ, and the INTJ might be reluctant to expose that particular portion, or may not even know how to expose that particular portion. ENFJ and ENTJ, this is a little easier, I think. Both are judgers. The only problem is they may have a conflict between ethics and thinking, and this is where a conflict will arise between them. Whereas the INFJ and INTJ may be just not communicating much. The INFJ may want more something from the INTJ, and they feel like they gotta dig a gold mine to get to the heart of the INTJ. And the INTJ may feel like the NFJ wants too much attention, and they don't feel like they may be capable of providing that amount of attention. Whereas the ENTJ and the ENFJ, they may actually argue quite a bit because of the judgments they're making. One may be making a logical judgment, and one may be making a feeling judgment, and then there's this clash. Both want some kind of external control. They feel the best kind of control is through ethics, and the other feels the best kind of control is structure, regulation, and order. And so you might have that clash there. So, whereas I think ENFJs and INTJs might be a little more smooth, and INFJs and ENTJs might be a little more smooth as well. So and again, this is a little more smooth. I'm not 100% sure on that. I just think naturally it would be a little more smooth, as one is extroverting and one prefers to receive, in the sense of both combination pairs. I don't think this is completely ideal naturally. I think, like I said, any relationship is ideal, and I'm repeating myself because I don't think people understand that. I think every time I make a relationship compatibility video, I regret it later because I just think it's very limiting. I don't want people to go out and say, oh, I'm looking for an INFP, because I'm an ENTJ and that's my ideal type. I think ideal types kind of just give you an understanding of why you may be attracted to a person immediately. Like, why do you feel so connected to this person? You may find out that they're pretty much all of the same type. But then if you come across someone different and you may like this person, don't judge them based on their type. That's silly. That being said, so with the, I think this is not the most ideal naturally. If you're in a relationship like this, I do think it's very beneficial. I do think it's just working out those little challenges that are involved in that relationship and learning to speak a little bit of the same language. Both parties need to stretch a little bit, and I think ultimately they can get along pretty well. They both are trying to get to the bottom of each other and at the bottom of issues, and I think if they do this effectively and learn to put their ego aside and see that they can offer great benefit and value to each other, they actually can look at things from a different perspective. And I think honestly the NFJ can catalyze the NTJ's morality and ethics and incorporate more of that into their decision making, and vice versa. I think the NTJ can incorporate more of that logical side into the NFJ's capability of thinking. I think intertype relations is really beneficial because it helps bring out functions that may be weaker and or not preferenced, and this obviously completely surrounds the whole decision making process. That being said, like I said, I'd give this out of a 1 out of 10. 10 being the smoothest. I'd say this is probably 8 or 9 out of 10, so maybe 85% smooth, whereas, you know, NFPs and NTJs is about 95% smooth. So I would say that's probably 85%. Again, this is just a number I'm throwing out. It's completely arbitrary. There's no statistics that back this up. This is just my personal opinion. Argue if you want, complain if you want, criticize if you want. Like I said, this is just my personal opinion based on what I've read and studied. I do believe there is a lot of opportunity in this relationship and a lot of things to be discovered, but again, I think there's barriers as well, and those barriers can be pretty easily overcome if you both understand typology and both understand where you need to stretch to. Anyway, that's an overall short summary video of NFJs and NTJs compatibility. Thank you.